great to see you. Thanks for taking the time. I mean, I suppose to set the scene, we're here in Los Angeles. You just finished the album, literally mastered it in the last 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Is it finished?
Yep, it is now.
How do you know? How do you know when it's done? When you've been working on it for so long, so meticulously? I know you have.
It's been like 2 years, okay? So it's like, sometimes you just don't feel it. I didn't felt like my album was done. I had a lot of these songs that was like, I removed from the original track list. And whatever I was working on, it's like I removed everything.
When you finished the album, was it where you ended up, where you thought you'd end up when you started it?
No, because there was a lot of collaborations that was like missed. I mean, of course, I'm very happy with what I have on who I have on my album. Yeah. But taking back 3 years earlier, it's not what I had in mind.
Well, where were you? What were you trying to achieve at that point? Where do you think your head was at? What were you trying to make?
I don't know, maybe I was trying to like do a continuation of like the last one, 99.9%, like I had Sid and Anderson .Paak, which like they're not on the next album, they're not on this one. And it's like a lot of collaborations like that I thought it was gonna happen again. Like making tracks with Bad Bad Not Good, a lot of instrumental tracks, like having River Tiber. Like a lot of those projects did not happen. And I kind of understood, like just with time, why not do something different? Well,
also, I mean, you were all in a similar space. I mean, each of you was coming up in a similar time in your careers.
Yes.
In part, thanks to the success of 99.9%, and in collaboration with everyone else's individual success as well. All of a sudden, you catch your lane, you catch your wind, and you don't know where it's going to take you. But it sort of makes sense that you want to go back to a comfortable space because you knew those people, right? So that's a good place to start. Did you actually get tracks with some of those people done, or was it just a case of like no schedule, no time?
I think it was scheduled. Sometimes it's like maybe their schedule. I was just sending, I work remotely, so a lot of like tracks were made by sending beats back and forth, batches, like maybe like 5 different batches to the same artist, and still nothing. Or maybe it's like, oh, I'm gonna use that for my album, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. This is interesting though, because collaboration, people always hear the result and think it's this really beautiful, easy experience, but you know from experience that it's actually can be quite tiresome and quite difficult to get your vision in tandem with someone else's vision and timing. It can be tough collaborating.
Yeah, especially for a producer, it's like a producer who makes a producer album with a lot of guests. It's like 2 times more difficult than just like an artist who's like got their own voice and pretty much they're in front. And I always do the background job. So that's why I kind of like didn't drop a lot of albums or projects.
Did you ever think about putting out an instrumental project just to kind of keep it easy?
Of course. Like that was like part of the plan, like just dropping another beat tape between the works I've been doing from this album and the other album.
Yeah.
And eventually, like very, very soon, I'm gonna hear instrumental projects because this is what I'm the best at. Just making instrumentals, So.
And you work on your own in that space, right? It's just you when you're making your beats and things like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's collaborations, but.
Sure. But for the most part, you're comfortable in your own space.
Yeah, very much.
Do you ever get lonely doing that?
No, not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. I don't think I'm like lonely. Like I always like imagine myself somewhere else when I make beats, and whenever like the final product is done, I would like see myself in a party or like see myself in it.
Cool, you visualize the environment within which the music's going to exist.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like music does not make me feel alone like that.
It almost takes you somewhere else.
And I'm very happy to be alone. Like I'm very much of a loner. So it's like, this is really my comfort zone where I like make beats and just,
I know you're pretty settled down in Montreal now.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you describe just the overall vibe of your actual HQ where you dwell?
It's pretty much my home, and I have a room where I just make beats. Or sometimes I would not go to that room because that room is so messy and it's kind of like I need a change of scenery, and I would just go to the kitchen or something like that.
You're a messy creative though?
Yeah, it's like really my laptop and my controller and my headphones, and that's it, It's not that big of a deal. And like everything that people use for like studio stuff, like you can probably use it on a Mac.
That's what you do with it though.
So, yeah.
You imagine an environment where music exists. Do you work well working remotely? Do you like making music when you travel?
No, I don't. Because like music, when I travel, does not make me focus enough to just create something new and then live my life after that. I feel like I get very tired from like all these planes. I just want to be chilling. And I always think about the show. So it's like anticipation.
Separate
about the next-
compartmentalization. Of,
Yeah, but rarely it happens sometimes, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like the best stuff that you will ever make. And that's why like if I force myself to make beats like while traveling, I would never be happy with the result because it's not. I feel like it would be a waste of time. I would rather just chill and just lay back in my bed.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get into the album. So the album's called Bubba.
Yeah.
Okay, where'd that come from?
So Bubba came from the train, Bubba Kush.
You're a smoker?
I'm a smoker, but you know I don't want to like put my business out there that I'm a smoker like that. But I'd be smoking.
It's okay. This is the town to talk about
you
it.
know.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
but you know,
Yeah.
like it's like I do it every day, and it's like I don't know why Bubba was like the thing that stuck to me. Maybe like the creative process while I was smoking that one strain, in that 1 week, I was like, oh shit, okay, it's a cool name, I guess. It's kind of catchy.
How do you find that it affects your creative process?
I don't know. Sometimes like it's not gonna work. Sometimes it'll work the best. Like when you're into it, it's definitely gonna be amplified. But when you don't want to, it's like no.
Yeah, walk away.
That.
Yeah. Okay, so the album's called Bubba, and you started out working with people that you knew, and now you've ended up working, you know, in areas with people that it's a new experience. There's some new collaborators on here. You know, we know you've worked with GoldLink before, so it's nice to get that one back in. What is it about GoldLink that you really enjoy? What is it? Because again, the song that you've done with him, right, which is called Vexo,
Yeah.
which is a crazy standout on the record. Let's talk about that and what it is about you and Link.
There's something about GoldLink that you can just rap on up-tempo beats.
Yeah.
Not just up-tempo, just the fact that somebody could ride to a beat like so effortlessly, like GoldLink. And there's a lot of like rappers like that's coming up right now. And that's been existing, but not in the forefront like him. It's just like, it's my homie as well. So it's like, why not, you know? And I've been asking him for the verse for a while, you know? It's like, that's like what the process was, making this album, just like to get people on it. And GoldLink was like, actually came with a verse after like a year of asking a verse, you know? And I understand that maybe because my beats are like, really, it's like a challenge for them maybe, or it's not as dope as they think, you know what I'm saying? So
No,
it's
they're
like,
uniquely you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like if you're receiving a file from KAYTRANADA and you have to write on it, you know you're venturing into a strong KAYTRANADA experience. It's not like, oh, you made something for my album. That's why I was surprised. I'll take this for my album. It's
Maybe-
like,
maybe
it'd be
it's that,
clearly
you know?
a KAYTRANADA beat,
Yeah.
no matter where it sits.
I mean, maybe it's that, or maybe it's just like, they love the beat, but they couldn't really find anything
To write on it.
to write on it, or
Yeah.
just to, or you know, oh, this beat is just so nice itself. I don't know what to do.
I was going to
with
say,
it.
do you think you overcompensate with your instrumentals you send sometimes?
Yeah, man.
And
Sometimes I'm like, did I do too much on this
Yeah.
beat? Like, there's
Yeah.
way too many stuff. Like, I should keep it more minimal, strip down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it works. You know, I tried like that experience a lot with a lot of those songs that's end up being on the album.
deliberately dialed it back and gave
Yeah.
people room to invest.
A lot of like beats that is just like give them space to like be there.
Is it important? You talked about GoldLink being the homie. How important is it to you that you have some kind of personal connection with the collaborators ideally rather than it just being about talent?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't see it that way. Because me, it's like remotely, like what I'm working on, and it's like when I tryna like I'm just sending them beats, and it's like I don't see their working process. I don't see that.
Do you prefer it that way than being in
I
the room?
prefer it that way, honestly.
Wow. Most people I talk to, they love to be in the room to vibe and to create something face to face and see
Yeah.
and see the situation. Why does it work?
That's the thing. That's what's happening like today in the industry. Because like when I did my last album, it was more of that, of remote, like people working remotely and just like me sending beats and then they'll come back with a thing very quickly. And now it's more of like being present and being in a studio session. And me, it's not that I hate it, but sometimes it depends with the collaborator. I would not be very like satisfied too if we even end up doing something. If it's trash, it's like whatever. We just gonna move on to.
You're a private guy, huh?
Yeah, super. I don't know why I'm like that, but I'm
Always been that way, even as a
always been
kid.
that way. Yeah, and I would like stay in the corner and not say nothing
Yeah.
and just let the other people do the work.
Which is strange, and that's right. And for kids that age, I'm thinking that you're probably talking about between the age of about 5 and 12.
Yeah.
That's a difficult time because people mistake shyness for arrogance or rudeness. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
kids can't get their head around it.
And I'm just quiet, you know. Sometimes it's just I'm just minding my own business, in my own head, and some people just
Yeah.
Don't like that at all.
You were young when you moved to Montreal, but obviously, you know, your family comes from Haiti. You have a Haitian family history. And how was that experience growing up in a household that had, you know, a different kind of historical value and historical upbringing, but in a place like Montreal? How was your upbringing?
I mean, it was pretty normal. It was not that insane. It was not that super different. It was just like people made it seem like it was a different thing because of like our different backgrounds. But my parents were very strict, and
They were strict.
yeah, because you know that's the Haitian education.
That's sort of what I'm getting at. Like, I know you're a really sensible dude and you focus on your art and your craft, but you work in a heady environment.
Yeah.
These clubs, these late nights, all this stuff. From a strict background, how you get into a music space.
Yeah, I don't know, because it was like the universe was just telling me that music was like deep passion. Like when I was young, like my dad used to play music, and I used to play CDs. I used to put CDs at 5 years old in a CD player. I was watching hip hop music videos as entertainment when I was like 5 years old.
And your parents were cool with that?
My parents were cool with that. It wasn't like, it was no big deal. Even the Fugees came out around that time. So Wyclef, Haitian Pride, you know, 100%.
Huge.
So like,
and they resonated in your house. Like everyone felt that.
So everybody felt that. Everybody was like buying the score, or like Wyclef's next album, the Carnival. It was Haitian Pride. Everybody was like, yeah, like we're so proud of Wyclef and the Fugees and, you know, Praz. And even they love Lauryn Hill. Everybody thought Lauryn Hill was Haitian too. So it was like,
yeah, exactly.
So pretty much just like,
Yeah, and that's a testament to, you know, the power of personality that Price and Wyclef brought to the table and how strong a message that was coming through the music at that time.
Yeah, they were like number one.
Straight
like,
up. They were world domination.
Killing it.
It's crazy. And have you ever had a chance to speak to Price or Wyclef about that, or anyone? Have you brought it up? Or
I never talked to them about their success, but I did some work with Wyclef that will probably not come out, maybe come out later on if I do an unreleased compilation.
Oh, so it was for the session, it was within this time period for this album?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, that's cool. And did that blow your mind, given what you just said about growing up and having the Fugees play such an important role in your life?
Of course, you know, he just like grabbed his guitar and played like his hits. It's like, damn, he's just like doing it in front of me. And it's like and honestly, I could not stop thinking about my parents, like, yo, like just proving them wrong in a sense, like, but I don't see that negatively. But it's just like, yeah, I'm out here with Wyclef in the studio, like right now. And it's like, I'm sure, like, I'm just telling them that. They were like, oh, this is okay. Because, like, you know, they accepted the fact that I became a musician, but just the fact that I had Wyclef meant so much, like something much deeper.
What was the alternative for you, do you think? If you had not stayed true to your passion and held the line and said, I want to be a musician, you have to trust my judgment, what do you think the alternative was? What do you think they would have preferred you to do, or you think you would have done?
I have no idea, because every interest I had growing up was about art. Because I really sucked at school, and I was like just trying to like did everything. Even my parents supported me. I ain't gonna say that my parents was like against it, but my parents definitely supported me in me becoming a producer. I was like 14 when I started making beats, and I was showing them my own like productions, my parents. So it was like 14, 15, they were trying to like buy stuff, like instruments. They couldn't really afford it, but they were really interested in helping me into becoming who I am today. So
that's really great. You're super lucky. And I think actually we've seen, certainly in the way that music's become more accessible technology-wise and the tools and instruments we can use, I think parents recognize that as long as it stays in the house and they can see how much work you're putting into it, most parents just want to see a work ethic.
Yeah, they just want to see the work, and they just want to see what comes with it, you know? Like, I could have done all this work and nothing would have happened to me, and then it would still be like, oh, what you gonna do with your life, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a crossroads for sure.
Yeah.
And so, okay, let's just fast forward back to you being in a studio with Wyclef making music. And sure, it's understandable previous generations find that impossible to believe. But does that now really open your mind up to what's possible when you think about the spark of inspiration you got from watching Wyclef, Praz, and Lauren achieve that and how it meant, as you say, Haitian pride? And then you're in a studio watching him play these songs and you're about to collaborate on your music. Are you able to trace that? Because I'm a big fan of Manifest Destiny. So you're able to see how the dream to the reality. Do you think about that stuff?
Yeah, I think about it sometimes. Sometimes it's like, wow, okay. And even like just happened in front of me, it's just like, it just tells a lot, you know? It's like destiny in a sense. It really happened.
What else blew your mind? Like, what other moments have you been in, like the Wyclef one, where it's just...
Who's on the album right now? It's like,
yeah, for
real.
Oh, for midsection.
Yeah, thank you.
Midsection.
For real.
Which is at the end, which blew my mind that you waited to the end of the album, assuming that the track listing remains.
Yeah.
putting that at the end of the album is interesting because most people would rush to get Pharrell on a flex, and yet you decided to kind of let it ride us off. Why was that?
I just put it at the end because it just felt like an outro to me.
Yeah.
It just felt like, okay, like this is the end. This is a good ending. Like it's to be continued because the track just fades out, no hook.
That's right, and it's the only
Just
time
like
that it
fade
actually
out.
does. It's the only time that I feel you lose the concentration of the whole record. The whole thing keeps your concentration from one track to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Then you're
Yeah.
right, it sort of just, it ends. I've heard so many great stories about people working with Pharrell, so I know there's a few constants. But from your experience, like, how was that?
It was crazy. It's just growing up, knowing how far it was gonna be, and then he's actually what I thought he was gonna be. It's really interesting because it's like,
So he lived up to that expectation.
yeah.
Crazy.
Because I know Pharrell like puts himself in another vibe. Every time, like, no matter who he worked from like with Britney to Talib Kweli
To J Balvin, to
exactly.
Beck, to Frank Ocean.
Exactly. To everybody. So Pharrell is always putting, like he told me, like in the session, he said, like, just put me into your world, put me into KAYTRANADA's world. Remember, I'm a chameleon. I'm just a chameleon. So it's like,
right.
and he was just saying that with like true meaning. It felt like real deep. So it was like, okay. It was just dope, man. It was just the fact that I made the beat, I didn't really think about that. And I just pressed play in front of Pharrell. Because it was like, the beat takes a while to drop. When he heard that beat, it was like with the drop and everything. So it was just like, I don't know, I just saw that reaction he had. And it was just like, out of all the beats that I've showed him, there was like, oh, can you play that one you played? And I'm like, this one? And then he just did what he did on the track. And that was not the final thing. So recently he actually called me and just like, oh, I'm not really happy with the he did something else pretty much with the track. And he recently called me, was not happy about the lyric. He pretty much like ended it well and added a bridge and
That's real investment.
yeah.
That's like, I love what you've done. Can I try and do something too? That's cool. That's a collaborative space.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I see Pharrell as like one of the best collaborators. Like, yeah, I understand why he collaborates with so many people because he just gets it.
Well, let's nerd out on that for a minute because we're music fans as well as anything else, right? That's where we begin. What does Pharrell mean to you? What does Pharrell mean to your generation? What is it about him? And if you can be as specific as possible, describe how he really put you on the path you're on, because I know his influence.
It's just good music, man. He just like him and Chad just went while I was growing up, like just in the early 2000s. Simply, it was just like, okay, you did your thing, And it's like, there's that, and there's like just his interviews about how he sees the world and how he collaborates and just how humble he is. It's just like everybody wants to be like him. And how fly he is too, like the way he dresses, up all our minds, like while being a kid. He's amazing.
How many other songs do you think you had for this record? Other collaborations, other moments? You talked about Wyclef, you talked about these things. I mean, you've been working, like you say, solidly for over 2 years. So how much music didn't make it into the final track listing of BUBBA?
Like a whole album, another album?
The whole album.
Yeah, there's just so many tracks that just didn't make it. Even like, I'm talking about the whole album. It's not even like, there's still tracks left after that.
Okay, so will any of those see the light of day? I mean, is there a desire to finish these things, release these things? It was just a case of what made the context of this one project?
Yeah, because it's like I intended to put out in 2 parts.
Okay.
But I'm definitely gonna do like something kind of different on the next one because it's like there's a lot of like rappers.
Yeah,
who'd
you work with that's on the next one? Who didn't make this particular cut? What are you sitting on?
Like I have like this song with Anderson .Paak that didn't make the album. It's really a good one. It's just like it has like this sample I have to clear, and it's like it just sucks, man. Sampling is like my sound, like my main sound. I have a lot of sounds, but it's like I really need to sample in a sense because it's like defines how raw my shit would sound in a sense. That's what it is with the Anderson .Paak thing, because it's like this song didn't really match the cadence of like the vibe of the whole album, because it was more like hip hop and I feel like it could match the other project a little more, because like I have a lot of those songs that didn't make the cut, but it's all like kind of like beats and samples and.
We're going to get back to Bubba in a second, but while we're staying in the space of like the process of what did and didn't make it, Anderson, Anderson, that's an easy fit for both of you to get in there and make something, even if it's out of character. But I mean, were there people that you collaborated with that might come as a surprise to people? Did you extend yourself into territories you haven't done before in terms of singers, rappers, other artists?
I don't know if you know Rad Boy from the UK. I worked with him, and it was like something completely different.
That's cool. He's like a prototype Beastie Boys-y type.
Exactly.
His energy's like
and that's
rude
what
boy.
we did.
Yeah.
And like it sounded a lot like the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
We did like 4 joints, So
yeah.
But it's not on the album. But it's like I think for his project it would be like really dope,
So who? I mean, I don't think I've even ever asked you this question. Let's take it right back to square one for a second. Like, who are the cornerstone inspirations behind you making music and wanting to be KAYTRANADA in the first place?
Madlib, I think. I think Madlib to me is like a god in the beats, and it just how his sounds are. I don't know. There's really something about him, So it's like
it's the sound though as well. It's just what he does with those samples.
It's really sounding like the bass, just like his.
I heard a rumor
kicks.
that he does it in one go, and then what you get is what you get, and he can't manipulate it after it's done.
Yeah, like
it's
no
finished.
stems, like no, none of that. It's really raw, and it's take it how you want it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I feel like I want to be like him in terms of like not giving a in life. Like his music always been like the main inspiration. Like I grew up studying his stuff, studying his music, like just because I was listening way too much of his music. Until this day, it's like just how he mixes, like his mixtapes as well are amazing. Just his like record collection, like
where does he get these breaks
where does he get
from?
his like weird records? It kind of influenced me and other producers to just go left field in terms of like the basic soul samples.
Get into psych rock.
Simple,
get into like Ukrainian folk. Like go and find something.
Like psych rock, like progressive rock.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been through. Like growing up in high school when I was making more beats on his style and J Dilla's style. It was like him and JD just found the most obscure records, like just like some nice progressive rock, new wave, New wave. When you talk about new wave, like it kind of made me discover new wave as well.
J Dilla passed away, I'd imagine, before you ever got a chance to connect with him and meet. Yeah.
I was a teenager, so
yeah, that's right.
No chance.
Can you imagine what it would have been like to meet that guy? I mean, how that would have been?
I think he would have been would have been a cool guy. I was one time with Alex from Bad Bad Not Good, Sango, and me and Madlib. We're just like in a room. And we were just showing beats and stuff. And he was like, yeah, like, man, he loves that stuff, man. And then like, I don't know, there was like a light sign. It's like, yeah, Dilla is here right now. Dilla is here right now, something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, oh yeah, he's here. And I'm like.
That makes sense to me. I think if the spirit was strong in the first place and then it lives on through the love and affection of those that are moved by it, by what's left.
Yeah.
Then I think
a lot of people making his style.
Dude,
even like this lo-fi hip hop thing that came out recently, like
it's Kids of Dilla. That's
It's
Kids of Dilla. It's 100% what it is. There was pre and post, and I think that J Dilla, the way he mixes his records and the way that he made his things swing, but also kept a pop structure. It's just totally unheard of.
Yeah, man, I love it. It's just it kind of influenced me with the mixing as well, because like the drums are like the main, just how voodoo sound, like D'Angelo's voodoo sound. It's like. The drums are like the main thing.
Loud drums. Q-tip too. Loud drums.
Yeah.
Loud drums always.
Oh man, just like snap, pop.
Yeah.
I love that. I just love it. And it's like, that's why I kind of like partially deaf today, but I just love like when a snare pops and when like a kick is just too strong, but it's not good. Like I gotta be careful.
I was gonna say, you're one of those people that listens to your music in a possibly loud situation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't do it anymore.
But I have to, sometimes like it's good to lower the volume.
Yeah. So we brought it inside because everyone who's mumbling in the background was getting upset by the ambiance of Los Angeles. Do you like it out here in LA?
I love LA.
Yeah, I wonder because, you decided to really double down on Montreal, your home, and a lot of people, when they start to become successful, decide, that's when I will move to a different place where there's industry and there's more going on. You went the other way, even though you love it here. Why would you not spend more time here?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about moving out here, but it's like, I think this album was like holding me back in a sense. Because I was so focused on that.
Yeah.
And I could just like travel back and forth.
You got time.
Yeah, and I still like, and I can, it's easy to just come here and just come to my manager's house and just chill. But I definitely want to live here one day, like just for a period of time. But I still love Montreal because it's like my peace. Like, it's kind of like my peace.
Most artists come from a place of necessity. They come from a requirement to say something because there's an area, I feel this personally, that, in a weird way, I've been coping through art my whole life, trying to find a way to kind of fill something. Has art served a purpose for you in that regard? Has music and art ultimately helped you find an equilibrium for reasons you can't even identify?
I don't see it that way, but I just went with what life is giving me in terms of like art and just...
You recognized it in you immediately.
Yeah.
Go DJ featuring Sir, song number 3. That's that Detroit Dilla thing going on. You almost instantly recognize the lineage of what you've been inspired by and where you're taking it, right?
Yeah. So like at the time I was making that beat, I was listening to a lot of Dilla's beat tapes. That's all I listened to in my life, just beat tapes. Some like the what is it called? The second installment. That's one of Dilla's tapes. And like that's like one of the latest tapes where he was like just doing club bangers and influenced by what was going on in 2005, 2004, 2002. It was like club bangers, So that beat was like, okay, a nice sample and a nice drum that is like kind of like broken beat. Very broken.
Very broken beat.
But like if you get the rhythm.
A lot of swing. You can find the rhythm, but it's not a conventional experience.
It's like boom, cha, boom, boom.
But that was how Dilla was. I just felt like you were, those beats were a danger of tripping their own feet, trying to just walk straight.
Yeah, and I feel like our dancers would like kind of get the trip of the feet.
Working with Sir as well, stepping into the TDE fold with, I think, one of the really important artists in that camp. Was that one of the ones you just sent Sir and he sent it back and forth? Or?
Nah, we actually was in the studio.
You vibed?
I did Shangri-La together. And
wow, that's cool.
It just was natural as hell. I just showed him that beat, first beat, show him, and he was just...
Straight in?
Straight in, He wrote something, smoke, and it's just like...
Little Bubba?
Yeah, little Bubba on the side, and then he did his thing.
Working in Shangri-La is no ordinary day in the office.
It is not.
A legendary studio that was, made famous by some pretty big recordings, most notably Bob Dylan, the band, people like that, lovingly restored by Rick Rubin, and sitting on top of a mountain that can only be described as paradise in California. So going out there, making music out there, is Rick kicking about? Were you playing Rick things as well?
I didn't play him Rick at that point. I played some stuff to Rick when we were both in Hawaii, but... I came to Shangri-La a lot of times, and I don't know why I was stubborn at the time. It was like, I'm going to work in my own studio, my own stuff, my own corner.
Yeah.
And I never really tried it till this year. And man, it's just one of the best places I ever worked with because it's like everything is easily done, easily accessible. It's very inspirational and it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful studio, a beautiful place.
Hawaii is one of my favorite places on the planet. I just feel fortunate to have even visited it.
Yeah.
Just to have access to an island as incredible as that with energy that flows like that up from the ocean, and it is just beyond comprehension how that place makes you feel.
Mind-blowing.
You found yourself out there and you said you were kind of like kicking things around with Rick, so just describe that situation.
So I had this show in Honolulu, and I just decided to vacay and stay in the island of, what's it called again? Kauai.
Crazy.
I didn't expect for it to be that crazy and to be that beautiful, it to be that, It felt really good. And then Rick happened to be there. He was out there while I was out there, and he was like, oh yeah, let's link up and stuff.
True.
Yeah, he just had this car, this nice van, and we were just driving around. And I was just playing beats, And the thing about Rick, he really loves my beats. And we had a lot of meetings that was just me playing beats, and he just went to hear my stuff, what I've been working on or whatever.
Does he give you feedback? Because I know that it depends. Sometimes he's really laid back about that kind of stuff. Other times he leans right in.
Sometimes he's like, oh man, I just love that swing.
Yeah.
I love how the drums are not in place. He'll be just listen to it. It's just it's just cool to have his blessing, So we're just talking about music and I just played music. I was playing a lot of what's coming on the next album and what was in BUBBA. And pretty much he liked it, he vibed it. And
The next song, though, I think it has Mick Jenkins on it.
Yeah.
After the Sir record.
And that's my boy, Mick.
Chicago.
Yeah, Chi-Town. Man,
Reals.
the thing is like me and Mick is like one of the people I work with the most, I think. He comes a lot in Montreal because he just loves Montreal. He even has a song called 514. That's like our area code.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff we've been making and it's really dope. And I feel like one day we should like probably, and we've been talking about making a tape.
Do a
of
tape.
course, because it's like, just me and him, it's like this,
Yeah, well, I feel as an artist, he's got great melodic tone and a great sense of melody, but he's also got this really like compelling and authoritative rap.
Yeah.
Flow.
And like really rap, So
he
it's
really
like,
raps.
Yeah, he's just like, he raps for real.
This is what's really cool about this album is it's really just cemented your taste in collaborators. You take a look at the people who are on this, from Mick Jenkins, Cali, who I know, you obviously know, Van Jess we know about, Estelle, it's a great shout, Goldlink, Tinashe. These are people that ultimately exist in the fringe in a good way. They will never, ever compromise their vision in order to move into a big room. They'd rather stay in a room that's bespoke and designed by them and get there their own way. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, 100%.
It seems to be the kind of artist you're attracted to.
Yes. I really love artists that will just try different things, Like you probably like just see one of these artists collaborating with like whoever. Like they'd probably just do their own thing and then they'll have a song with, I don't know, Diplo.
But you never tempted it, or have you ever tried, or either cuts we haven't heard of you moving into that bigger space? I mean, there's a lot of artists who I'd love to work with KAYTRANADA and get a KAYTRANADA beat who are in the top 10 of Apple Music charts.
Yeah.
Does it inspire you, the idea of working with big names?
Definitely. Because like I grew up like seeing Pharrell doing that with Justin and doing that with Britney, and a lot of artists just like kind of rebrand their own image or their own sound. I'd love to do that with one of those artists, There's like one Shawn Mendes remix I put out like last year, and it's kind of...
And that Rihanna one you put out a few years back was another level.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
like,
there.
So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of artists that, they love my music, and it'd be very interesting to hear if they want to do an official song with me.
That's right. You ready to take that step?
I'm so ready. But the thing is like, I'm not trying to, but like if somebody like reach out to me and be like, yeah, like I want you to do that, do this,
do that
like
thing.
I'd be down, so.
Who's the dream? Now you've worked with Pharrell, who's a huge influence. Who's someone you would love to collaborate with in the future?
I have no idea. Because the thing is like, I always wanted to work with Pharrell. He was like kind of number one, but maybe something with Stevie. I don't know, Stevie Wonder, maybe, but I don't think it'll ever happen because he's like just...
Never say never, man.
Honest, I'm just being honest, but I don't have a to-do list or a wish list, It's like, I'm very attracted with people who's like interested in my sound in a sense, And I'm not trying to like reach out to a lot of people except for like, never mind.
That's cool, I get it. I want to talk about 10%, the Kaliushi song. And what I like about that is it's a sly take on business too. And I think it's something that a lot of artists are now starting to talk about in subtle and obvious ways. It's like, I'd quite like to take some control back. What's your relationship been like with business? Are you smart with it? Do you like that side of making music? Do you make it stretch?
It's, I just make my music and I just hope like it works.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not trying to like rebrand a sound and then like hoping to like get a session. If like I'm trying to make money with music, I definitely have a plan instead of like creating.
And does that factor in, the idea of making money in music? Does it ever cross your mind?
Yeah, maybe. Like I'm not really like trying to make money. I'm more into the art first, but
you don't want to get ripped off.
I don't want to. I don't want to get ripped off. But it's like, well, I definitely gonna find a way to make money with music in a sense. Like if like people need samples, like because a lot of like people are creating their own samples since like the sampling game is not buried all the way, but it's like,
you're not going to make any money out of sampling things anymore. You got to be crafty with it.
Everybody's trying to get a check.
Yeah,
I'm definitely trying to like creating my own samples. I've been doing that on my own, but I'd never released them. But
yeah, that's interesting. It's like a KAYTRANADA brand.
Yeah,
like KAYTRANADA samples, like a
like my sound, like people,
library.
like like drums, and I'm just like passing to other producers, and sometimes it'll just create a collab itself.
What about fashion? Because you actually have a really identifiable look, and you're no slouch in the style department, so it's not something that people ignore about you. Would you ever consider doing that? Does fashion matter to you? I know it does, because I've been in fittings with you.
Yeah, we've been in fittings together, but but yeah, of course, like to all the way. Like I did a lot of like I've been to a lot of fashion shows and a lot of like after parties for fashion shows, and I feel like I want to keep my presence there, because like I didn't drop the album, so everything been very calm and nobody really reached me out like they usually did. But it's very something like I'm interested to, like fashion. It's like I feel like my music really matches with fashion.
Definitely.
So it's like
I feel like your brother has a real sense for that.
Of course, my brother's like he's like the one like that used to school me into what to wear and like what's fly and and he knows like everything about shoes. So like
it could be a good collaborative space, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Tinashe jumps out on the track listing. My favorite song, and you were saying yours as well right now?
Yes. This makes me so happy every time I hear it, in a sense, because it's like the beat is like...
Beat's crazy.
Yeah, thank you. I did say it, you know what I'm saying?
But you made it, so you know it.
But the thing is like Tinashe, like I really was interested to work with her, because it's like she has a really pop voice, and it just kind of makes me see how I would sound like in the pop world. And like this song, I feel it's like exactly if any other pop artist was to reach me out, if they ever want to see how it would sound like to work with me.
Like that.
Like that question you just asked for. Like that's like a good example.
And you're right, her tone is, she has that tone.
And she's such like an easy person to work with as well. Like the easiest person. Like I didn't work remotely with her. Like it was really like a face-to-face collaboration.
And what did you learn from that experience, working with a writer and a songwriter and a vocalist in that regard, being someone who's worked remotely or by trading beats for long distance? What do you think you really got out of that experience?
So quickly, like first ideas is the best ideas, I think. Because it's like that beat was playing, she just did like her runs like that she does on the actual song. She just wrote it. 30 minutes later, recorded exactly one take.
Done.
No like, oh, I have to record this.
And conceptually too, you can take a look at the title of that, The Worst of Me, and know exactly where the song's going. It's exciting, man. Free Fall. Working with?
Duran Bernard.
Who is?
Who's a dope singer, man. He's an amazing singer. He has a dope Instagram page too. Like he's a funny dude. Yeah, he's seen background with Erykah Badu as well. And he's just like got this strong, powerful voice. And that song, and I just sang him stuff remotely, and it's like 6 songs we did. And he had some really dope ideas, and Free Fall was like a very specific beat that was like, it doesn't really sound like the rest of the album, but it still has that dancey, up-tempo thing.
That's what's great about the record, man. I mean, the songs are all intact and great and the collaborations, but you've definitely got a tempo and an aesthetic that runs through it and makes you want to listen to it from start to finish. How important is the idea of a project, do you think, now for, I mean, not even just for yourself, but for artists in general, in a time when songs are coming out left, right, and center, and you've done that, but to have a body of work that follows up 99.9%, does it still matter to artists?
I think so, yeah, because it's like, it's you, you're presenting yourself, you're presenting your art, and it's super important to just like leave your mark, like your own mark, exactly what you did. So.
And it allows you also just to anchor things around tour. And sort of as we get towards the end of this particular conversation, we got to focus on what's next, which is all that's next is apart from the next album coming.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the touring and let's talk about, because this is such a live album, I can't even handle it. I mean, it's just so designed for you to play out. Were you thinking about that while you were making it? Did you have images and ideas and all that?
Of course. The thing is like going on tour with this album will be like satisfying, because like a lot of the songs I used to play used to be the remixes and the dancey songs of '99, and I had glowed up. I had to like make a
up-tempo version,
upper tempo version.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to have more of like an easy thing, a kind of like a steady way to mix for my live shows. So that's what I was aiming on, and just making more dance songs really for the dancers out there. I think it's so important that we need to have dance music, dope dance music. We don't see that much today. And I felt like I'm not the exact voice, but like I feel like I'm one of those people who was good at that. So I kind of like focused on that.
I mean, when you came out 99.9%, there was maybe a handful. It's you and Disclosure that only springs to mind. You know, in terms of being able to find the right tone and like you say, make tasteful dance music that can reach tens of thousands of people on stage.
Yeah. And I feel like it's so important to just have that, you know, like it's been missing for a while, and then I came, Disclosure.
Are they peers of yours? Do you hold them in high regard?
Yeah, of course. Like they definitely influenced me. And they came before me, so I was very influenced, you know, like that really hit me hard when they did Latch. And it's just those songs that kind of like made me more interested, you know what I'm saying?
Who else are your peers? Who are the people you hold in high regard outside of, you know, Guy and Howard?
I love Justice a lot. Justice.
Mark? I know you do shows with Mark Ronson.
Yeah, I love Mark Ronson. I love his production that he did. Like the Version album was like definitely an inspiration on me. The Roots is one of my influences because I love how Questlove's drums really hit, and that influenced my sound as well, you know. So Daft Punk, a lot of boogie artists, like it's more producers like Leon Silvestri and all those cats. And
So 2020, touring to be done. Album's going to come out. We're excited about this. It's called Bubba. The artwork is super striking if it's the one I saw. It's just a portrait of you, right?
Yeah.
With the contact lens type vibe?
Yeah.
It's wicked. Track listing, everything's in place. And like I said, from a fan point of view, for me, one-on-one with you, it's been so worth the wait. I called my friend straight away when I was listening to it, like, wow, this is what I wanted to hear. So I'm really thrilled. Thanks for that.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. So touring next year, and last time we spoke about another project, you trolled me with the 0.1% off the back of 99.9%, and I ran with that for 3 months until I realized you were bullshit.
Yeah.
So facts only, please. The follow-up to this, that there's a desire to put it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I'm really focused on the next one right now, because like this one is done, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
That could be the LA one.
Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, like the next one is just what didn't make the album and other instrumentals in between. So that's gonna be a more personal one, and I think I'm gonna drop it like just in a couple months. I'm not gonna make it that long.
Right.
I'll wait.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.